Let me start with the single biggest lie you've ever been told about money. Since the day you were born, every person you trusted, your parents, your teachers, your relatives at family dinners, drilled one message into your brain: buy a house. It's the smartest investment you'll ever make. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Work hard, save up, get a mortgage, buy a home. That's the dream. That's success. That's how you build wealth. But what if I told you that for millions of people, buying a house is the exact reason they'll never be wealthy? What if the thing you've been told is your greatest asset is actually your greatest liability? Now, before you click away and say, "I've lost my mind," stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see money in a way you've never seen it before. And I'm going to show you the exact wealth formula that rich people use to buy homes, luxury cars, and everything else, without ever becoming a slave to a paycheck. But first, we need to learn a new language.
I'm going to reveal 3 secrets. First, the financial language of the rich.
Here's something nobody teaches you in school. Rich people and poor people don't just earn differently, they think in a completely different language. And the core of that language comes down to 2 words: assets and liability. Robert Kiyosaki broke this down decades ago in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's still the most important financial lesson most people have never truly absorbed. The rule is brutally simple. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. No complicated accounting degree needed. Just ask yourself one question every time you spend money. Is this putting money in my pocket or pulling money out? A rental property that generates $1,200 a month in passive income? Asset. A dividend-paying stock portfolio? Asset. A small online business that earns money while you sleep? Asset. Now, and here's where it gets uncomfortable. Your beautiful 4-bedroom house that you're so proud of, the one you call your biggest investment? Let's find out.
The magnifying glass reveals hairline cracks. Out of the cracks, dollar signs begin leaking. Assets equals money in. Liabilities equals money out. The only question, in or out? You've worked hard for this. But is it really secure? Just think about it. Let's see the real numbers.
The moment you sign that mortgage, here's what actually happens to your financial life. The median monthly mortgage payment in America right now is over $2,000. But that's just the beginning. That number is principal and interest only. According to a recent Bankrate study, the hidden costs of homeownership, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintenance now average nearly $16,000 a year. That's an additional $1,300 vanishing from your bank account every single month on top of your mortgage. So let's add it up. You're paying the mortgage, you're paying property tax, you're paying insurance. The roof leaks, you're paying for that. The furnace dies in January, you're paying for that too. Every single month, money is flowing in one direction out of your pocket. Now, go back to our rule. An asset puts money in. A liability takes money out. Your house, the one you live in, the one you've been told your whole life is your greatest asset, is taking money out of your pocket every single month of every single year for the next 30 years. That's not an asset. That's a liability wearing a disguise. Now let me be absolutely clear. I'm not saying you should never buy a house. Owning a home gives you stability, pride, a place to raise your family. Those things have real value. But calling it an investment, calling it your path to wealth, that's the lie. And that lie has a name. But what comes next is even more dangerous than the house itself. Because the house is just the beginning of a cycle that traps the entire middle class. Let me tell you a story. And if you're honest with yourself, you might recognize the main character. A young man, let's call him David, graduates college, lands a decent job making $65,000 a year. He's smart, he works hard. After a couple of years, he gets a raise. Now he's making $80,000. Great news, right? So what does David do? Exactly what society taught him. He buys a house, $350,000, 30-year mortgage. His monthly payment with taxes and insurance is close to $2,800 a month. But hey, he's building equity. He's investing. At least that's what everyone keeps telling him. A few years later, David gets promoted again. $95,000 now, so he upgrades his car. A nice SUV, $60,000 vehicle, 5-year loan, $700 a month. He deserves it. He's worked hard. Then the kids come. He needs a bigger house, $450,000 this time. Bigger mortgage, bigger insurance, bigger property tax. And now David earns more money than he ever imagined he would. But he has less cash in his pocket than when he was 23 years old. He can't miss a single paycheck. He can't take a risk on a business idea. He can't invest aggressively. He can't quit his job even if it's destroying his health. He is locked in, chained to a desk for the next 25 years because every dollar he earns is already spoken for before it even hits his bank account. This is the rat race. You earn more. You spend more. You borrow more. You borrow more. Your income goes up, but your freedom goes down. And the brutal irony? From the outside, David looks successful. Big house, nice car, good job. But David is one layoff, one medical emergency, one recession away from losing everything. This is the middle class trap, and almost everyone is in it. So if this is the trap, how do the rich escape it? What do they do differently? This is the part that changes everything, and it's so simple, it's almost offensive. When a middle-class person earns a paycheck, the money flows like this. Income goes to pay the mortgage, the car loan, the credit card, the lifestyle. Whatever scraps are left, if there are any, go into savings. This is the broke cycle. Earn, spend, survive, repeat. When a wealthy person earns money, the flow is reversed. Income goes first into buying or building assets, stocks, index funds, a side business, rental properties, anything that generates cash flow. Then, and only then, the income from those assets pays for the lifestyle. Let me make this concrete. A middle-class person buys a house with their salary. They work to pay the mortgage. A wealthy person builds a stock portfolio or a rental property portfolio first. When that portfolio generates enough passive income, say $3,000 a month in dividends or rent, that money pays for the house. The house costs them nothing out of their own labor. The assets bought the liability. This is the wealth formula. Build assets first, but the assets pay for your luxury. It's not about denying yourself nice things forever. It's about the order of operation. The middle class buys the reward before building the machine. The rich build the machine first, and the machine buys the reward. Here's a real-world example. Instead of rushing to buy a $300,000 house at age 28, imagine you spend 5 years aggressively investing, say $1,500 a month, into a diversified index fund averaging 10% annually. After just 5 years, you'd have roughly over $115,000. That money, left to compound or shifted into dividend-generating assets, starts producing real monthly income. Now your assets are working for you. Now you can buy that house, and your investments help cover the cost, instead of your salary doing all the heavy lifting alone. The rich don't avoid luxury. They just refuse to let luxury eat their future. Let me leave you with a line that might stay in your head for a long time. Poor people buy things. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets. The rich buy assets, and then let those assets buy everything. That's the game. And now you know the rules. But knowing the rules leads to an obvious next question. Where does the money come from to start buying those assets in the first place? Especially if you feel like you're barely surviving right now, we covered that exact strategy in our video on the ancient Babylonian 10% rule, the simplest wealth-building system ever created, and it's thousands of years old. Go watch that next, and once you have that money saved, where should you invest it? Which assets actually work for normal people? We broke that down step by step in our video on the Peter Lynch strategy, how an average person can pick winning investments without being a Wall Street genius. Those two videos, combined with what you just learned today, give you the complete blueprint, how to save, where to invest, and how to structure your money so it works for you instead of against you. If this video shifted the way you think about wealth, hit that like button. It helps more people escape the trap. Subscribe if you haven't already, because every video on this channel is designed to hand you one more piece of the financial puzzle. I'll see you in the next one.